Hey folks, how y'all doing and welcome back to my channel. Now the Polar brand reached the second generation with its wearables. So at first we got to see the Polar Vantage V2, then we got to see the Polar Vantage M2, and now as a third option we have the Polar Ignite 2, which we will talk about today. This one will cost you about 230 euros, so this one is also the cheapest one out of the three options. Therefore, of course, it does not have quite as many features as the other ones. So today we will look at all of the specs, at the performance, and at all of the features that we get with this one. Now, before we start with the video, don't forget to leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to be part of the growing community and don't want to miss out on any new smartwatch reviews. Just say I subscribe down in the comment section below so I can come back at you later on. So unlike with the Polar Vantage M2, the Ignite 2 only has one physical button on the bottom left side, with which we can open up the menu and close it. And I actually think that's enough, since with this one we have a 1.2-inch motion activated color touch screen with a resolution of 240 by 204 pixels. We get this awkward resolution because the screen of the Ignite 2 is not perfect circular. So if you look closely, you can see at the bottom you have the Polar sign. Because of that one, it is not perfect circular. I call it the flat tire syndrome, and that's why we get this awkward resolution. This watch is water resistant up to 30 meters, so you don't have to be afraid of jumping with it into the water. Just don't go diving with it. The 165 mAh battery will provide you with up to 5 days of battery life, or 20 hours if you have the GPS turned on, or up to 100 hours of battery life if you optimize the battery saving options. The touchscreen is embedded into a 43 mm plastic case surrounded by a cool looking engraved stainless steel bezel. All of that weighs in at 35 grams with a strap and only 21 grams without it. Of course, we also get built-in GPS, an accelerometer, heart rate monitoring, and a sleep tracker. Speaking of the sleep tracker, I really think this one is spot on. Maybe a few minutes off here and there, but that's really not a lot. So you can either check out the stats on the watch or in the Polar Flow app. Either way, you basically get to see the same. Besides, in the app you have a nicer and more colorful graph. The sleep tracker gives you a pretty detailed analysis of your sleep, split up into light and deep sleep, REM and then wake time. And you can exactly see every single minute of your sleep, which is amazing. Besides that, it gives you a sleep score based on the amount, the solidity and regeneration of your slumber. The heart rate tracker is one of the most important features of any sport or smartwatch. And unfortunately, the Polar Ignite 2 isn't that great. Well, in my opinion, it's still better than the Polar Vantage M2, but still not that good. So on my walking and running workouts over the last couple of days, the maximum and the average heart rate was always way too high as I was comparing all of my workouts with the Polar H10 chest band. Now, I don't want to lie to you guys, but the heart rate tracking in the workout section isn't that great in my opinion. Well, the normal daily heart rate is very good. I have no complaints about them, but when it comes to the workouts, isn't that great. The nightly recharge option is also something unique to the Polar brand. Based on your sleep charge and the ANS charge, it basically tells you if today is a good day to work out or not. By the way, the ANS is the autonomic nervous system, and the ANS charge tells you how much your autonomic nervous system calmed down during the night. Navigating on the watch seems a little bit laggy to me. There's always a slight delay when I'm swiping to the next tile. If you swipe up, you will get to the notifications. Unfortunately, you cannot reply or anything, but a nice feature is that you see a little red dot on your screen when you have new or unread notifications. Swiping down opens up the quick panel, which you can customize. So you can add or remove things from the list. As you can see, I have them all activated right now since I just like it that way. Swiping left and right takes you through the different tiles, which you can customize as well. So you have the time only watch view, the daily activity, which tells you how many steps you took a day, your active time and your burn calories, so it's very basic. The next one is the heart rate, which we already talked about. Our latest training sessions is the next tile, on which we can look up all of our past training results. It tells you the times, mileage, heart rate, burn calories, and actually everything that the watch was tracking while you was working out. Next is the nightly recharge and the Fit Spark. It is giving you training suggestions based on your overall recovery from the last day, as well as your training history. So it's either strength, cardio, or supportive workouts. The weather widget is also new to the Polar Ignite. With this one, you can see the weather for the day, as well as a little weather forecast for the next 2 days. The Ignite 2 has a weekly training summary on which you get to see the total amount of workouts, burn calories, travel distance, and overall workout time. As for last, we have the onboard music player. It really is just very basic, so you can skip a track or go back a track, play and pause the track, and adjust the volume. Now keep in mind that this device has no internal storage, so you cannot download any music files or playlists. But I still think it's the best feature that you can have on any smartwatch or sport watch. So let's finally get to the activity tracking features. Overall, you have over 130 different sport modes to choose from, like with any other sport watch from the Polar brand. You can have 20 different ones on your smartwatch at all times, but of course you can always swap them out for any other one in the Polar Flow app. Over here you can also choose what and how much should be displayed when you're working out. Now before starting the workout, you can set the power saving settings, look at your training suggestions, you have an interval timer as well as a countdown timer. You can also create some favorites or share your heart rate with other devices. When you start the activity, you will get to see the distance, pace, durations, heart rate, and a few more stats, depending on what you have set in the Polar Flow app. When swimming, the Polar Ignite 2 also automatically detects your heart rate as well as your swim style, distance, pace, the amount of strokes, and the pause time. Now I can test that feature for myself since all the pools are closed right now, and I really didn't feel like jumping into the lake. Like on every Polar smartwatch, we have Serene, which is a guided breathing session between 2 and 20 minutes. 20 minutes? I can even sit still for that long. We also have timers, can set the watch views, and we have the fitness test, which tells you your VO2 max after one hell of a breathtaking exercise. So what do I think about the Polar Ignite 2? Now, I haven't talked about the downsides yet, and the one big downside to this watch is the connectivity. Now, during the last couple of days, I was sitting down several times, sometimes even for hours, trying to get this watch reconnected to my smartphone. For some reason, it loses connection and it's very hard to get it reconnect. Now, the initial setup is very easy and had no problems, but after that, it's very hard. So if you're having the same problems, let me tell you what I did. I reinstalled the app a couple of times and I turned off and on the Bluetooth. Maybe that works. Next, I tried to restart the watch and I gave it all the permissions, especially the locations, because for some reason it works better if the watch has permission to your locations at all times and not only while you're using the app. So double check that and try to sync your watch again. Maybe that helps you. Next is that you cannot download any other apps to the sport watch, which is kind of normal for the Polar brand, and you don't have an always on display mode, which other smartwatches in this price category have. But what is good about the Polar Ignite 2? First off, you have a soft silicone strap with a lot of holes for perfect fitting on every wrist. You also have a cool design with the engraved bezel around, and another big plus point is the music player. I think it's one of the must-haves for every sport watch or smartwatch nowadays, and this is one that I missed on the previous generation. Now I have to be honest with you guys, but I'd rather have a touchscreen navigation than 5 buttons on the smartwatch like with the M2 to navigate. Another thing that I noticed is the heartbeat. Now, heartbeat monitoring is a thing. Now, the M2 wasn't that great. The Ignite 2 is a little bit better, but still not great. Also, the distance tracking is a little bit better than on the M2 for some reason, but it's just my opinion. So folks, that's already it for the video. I hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to be part of the growing community and don't want to miss out on any new smartwatch reviews. It only takes 2 clicks, it's for free, and it will help me out a lot. Now, with that being said, see you next time. Peace.